यदा यदा हि धर्मस्य ग्लानिर्भवति भारत अभ्युत्थानम् अधर्मस्य तदात्मानं सृजाम्यहम् परित्राणाय साधूनां विनाशाय च दुष्कृतां धर्म संस्थापनार्थाय संभवामि युगे युगे।
The time was right for somebody to experimentally verify the fundamentals of spirituality and establish the very essential harmony of all religions.
अवतार वरिष्ठाय राम कृष्णाय ते नमः।
Sri Ramakrishna was born on the 18th of February 1836 in the village of Kamarpukur, about 60 miles from Calcutta.
This is the room where Sri Ramakrishna used to stay. It is on the western side of the house and faces the south. Just outside the house of Sri Ramakrishna stands the over 1.5 century old mango tree planted by Sri Ramakrishna himself. It stands to the east of the parlour hut and yields fruit to this day.
In his youth, he was appointed a priest in Kali temple at Dakshineshwar. God is worshipped here as the Divine Mother. Sri Sarada Devi, popularly known as Holy Mother, was the spiritual consort of Sri Ramakrishna. She was born on 22nd of December 1853 in Joyrambati, a village in West Bengal. In due time, after her marriage with Sri Ramakrishna, she stayed with him in Dakshineshwar.
A small hut used to stand at the spot where Sharada Devi's temple is located today. For almost 52 years, the Holy Mother lived here. This was her room. She lived in this room. It is here that she initiated many devotees into spiritual life and conferred brahmacharya and sannyasa vows to monastic members.
These are the sacred grounds where the divine grace of Sri Ramakrishna Paramhansadev had manifested itself. It was located on the eastern bank of the Ganges, about 4 miles north of Kolkata. Here are the steps leading to the river. The Chandni, a roofed terrace on either side of which, arranged in a row, are 6 temples of Shiva. To the east are the courtyard and the Radhakanta temple. Sri Ramakrishna started as a priest in this temple in the year 1857. This is the main Kali temple. This is the Nat Mandir, or music hall. Here reside idols of Shiva and his two companions, Nundi and Bhringi. Before entering the main temple, Thakur would fold his hands and offer his pranams to this image. The Radha Kanta temple. This is the image of Govindu, or Krishna. Thakur had mended this image when its leg was damaged in an accident. This is Sri Ram Krishna's room.
सर्वजीव पापनाशकारणं भवेश्वरम् स्वीकृतं च गर्भवास देहधानमीदृशम् यापितं स्वलीलया च येन दिव्यजीवनम् तन्नमामि देवदेव.
Sri Ramakrishna's strong inner urge impelled him to follow various spiritual disciplines described in Hindu scriptures and realize God through them. He followed the paths of Islam and Christianity and attained the highest realization through each of them. His spiritual practices led him to realize oneness with God. He then habitually lived in an exalted state of consciousness, in which he saw God in all beings. Sri Ramakrishna expressed the quintessence of the realizations of his 12-year-long spiritual practices in a simple dictum: Joto mot, toto pot. As many faiths, so many paths. As bees swarm around a fully blossomed flower, devotees now started coming to Sri Ramakrishna in Dakshineshwar. The foremost among these young disciples was Swami Vivekananda. Narendranath Datta, who was later on known as Swami Vivekananda, was born in Calcutta in 1863. Swami Vivekananda was a prodigy endowed with many talents. He had acquired a vast knowledge of different subjects, including Indian and Western philosophy and history. At the threshold of youth, Vivekananda passed through a period of spiritual crisis. He was assailed by doubts about the existence of God. It was then that he first heard about Sri Ramakrishna. He asked Sri Ramakrishna straight away, "Sir, have you seen God?" The reply was, "Yes, just like I see you, only more intensely." Under the loving guidance of his master, Vivekananda blossomed into a spiritual luminary. His speeches at the World Parliament of Religions in Chicago made him famous as an orator by divine right and a messenger of Indian wisdom to the Western world. My ideal indeed can be put into a few words, and that is to preach unto mankind their divinity and how to make it manifest in every moment of life. He expressed, "My whole ambition in life is to set in motion a machinery which will bring noble ideas to the door of everybody." On 1st May 1897, the Ramakrishna Mission was founded by Swami Vivekananda.
आत्मनो मोक्षार्थं जगद्हिताय च।
It was Vivekananda's dream to have a permanent abode for the monastery and to set up a unique temple dedicated to Sri Ramakrishna, from where his ideology and wisdom would continue to inspire humanity. To fulfill this dream, he acquired a plot of land at Belur. The main site was purchased on 4th of March 1898. On 27th February 1898, there was a celebration in Belur. A procession of monks and lay devotees walked to the newly acquired site. Vivekananda himself carried the urn containing the sacred relics of Sri Ramakrishna on his own shoulders. The urn was ceremonially worshipped, and Vivekananda prayed to his master to sanctify the place with his hallowed presence for the good of many and the happiness of the world. Swami Vivekananda shared his ideas and vision about the Ramakrishna temple with his brother monk, Swami Vivekananda, who was a civil engineer in his pre-monastic life. Vivekananda pointed out the site for the temple and asked Vivekananda to prepare a plan. But the work could not start immediately owing to paucity of funds. 4 decades later, substantial contributions came from 2 American admirers of the Ramakrishna movement, Miss Helen Rubel, Bhakti, and Miss Anna Worcester, Annapurna. The construction finally began in 1935. 14th of January 1938. Finally, the day dawned when the temple was open to all. Swami Vivekananda enshrined the pot containing the sacred relics of Sri Ramakrishna in the new temple, thus fulfilling the long-cherished dream of Swami Vivekananda. Inside the sanctum is the marble statue of Sri Ramakrishna. More than 100 years have passed since the inception of the Ramakrishna Mutt and Ramakrishna Mission. During this time, the organization has spread in many parts of India and several countries abroad. the sun is setting in the lap of the western sky. Every devout mind seeks the soothing confines of the prayer hall. That enchanting melody of the evening prayer unfurls a wave of devotion. In the spiritual domain sits Sri Ramakrishna, bestowing his grace upon all.